Hi, thanks for joining me. Today in this video, we're going to discuss the halo or having no halo, getting rid of the halo. And what do I mean by the halo? If you haven't done so already, show some channel love by hitting the like and the subscribe button, okay? Now, what do I mean by the halo? The halo is a band of color that is surrounding your object, any object that you have on the surface of your painting. It is a band of color that is surrounding the object, but it is different from the background color or the background paints. Say I have the object already painted. Now I'm going to paint the background. If I don't come up to it, or I come with the tip of the brush or around here, I touch the line, I touch the, I'm touching the object in certain spots, and in certain spots, I'm not touching the object. It makes the edge of this object look raggedy. You don't have crisp edges because it's always this fine line of color that separates the object from the background. And in the overall appearance of the painting, it just doesn't make sense because it is taking you away, or the viewer away, from what the artist is trying to relay. So you're trying to tell the viewer something and they can't see it because they're distracted by this halo effect around it. So I'm going to go ahead and paint around here without coming, too close. And again, you can turn your, you can turn this all you want. Your canvas, I like to turn my canvas so that I am able to easily paint stuff. So it's not so awkward when I'm painting. I'm coming right up to it. No matter what technique I use to come up to it, when you look at this, there's still that, you can see little rims of white around it. That's your halo. Even if I came in here and painted this, I tell you, it takes a ton of time trying to get right up to the edge of the object. And if I do that, you see that circle, I went around there, and then I come back and paint this coming close to it, but not, you will still see a disjoint. I went side to side with painting. I'm going to paint right into it because I want you to see just what it is. I'm painting my background with these strokes going horizontally. Even if I went vertically, it wouldn't matter. It's going to do the same thing. See that halo around the shadow? That's the shadow of the ball. It still has a halo around it. So it doesn't matter if I go side to side or up and down. It's not going to matter. You have this circle that you went around here. You'll still have that circle around the object. The painted circle, you can see it, it stands out. So even though I painted side to side, I can come on with a thicker layer of paint. It's not going to matter. It's going to do the same thing. I'm still going to see the overall side to side strokes, whether I went side to side, up and down. It doesn't matter, you know, zigzag, scruffed it in. It doesn't matter how I do the rest of the background. I'm still going to see this circle that I went around the object with. So I went around that object. I took a lot of time doing it. I held my breath. I steadied my hand. I still have this halo around there. So not only do I have this halo glow around there, I have this other mark around there as well. Now to get rid of that, we have to strip forget, crush, and take away what we were taught about staying within the lines. Because if I stay within the lines, I'll have that halo effect. This is what we generally do to get rid of that. You paint over the edge of the object. Now, it takes a couple of going back and forth. You paint the background into the object, paint the object into the background. And see, it will get rid of that. So the lazy way of painting this, and I'll show you, I always do the lazy way of painting to show you. The lazy way of painting this, I know it's not the normal. You're going to paint your background. I would come in here and paint my object into the background, making sure I paint my object into the background. So here I painted the object, I painted the background into the object, and now I'm painting the object into the background. So when I first painted the object, I would just take the object outside the line. You have to paint the object into the background. See how it gets rid of that? You don't see that white mark. And then you have to paint the background into the object. So that's a good part about doing your background first. It's just a lazy way. I generally paint my backgrounds really thick, really robust and thick, so I don't have to keep going back and forth. But you have to, it's just a part of doing it. The only way to do it is painting outside the lines, paint your background into your edges, and then come back and paint the edge into the background. You'll do, it's a back and forth kind of thing, but I found that the lazy way of doing it is painting the background into the edge. And then when you come to the edge, you paint the edge. Let's see, like you're supposed to paint the edge right to that line. Go right over the line. Don't stay inside the line. Go right over the line. Not enough paint on my brush. I took the paint off. It takes the halo off. Now there, you can see, looks like the halo. It's not enough paint there. So then I would come back right up to it. It's a give and take kind of thing. Yin yang. Almost like you're on a seesaw. There's no halo in this. I painted into the ball, then I painted the ball into the background. So you're focusing only on the edge. I'm not painting way into the background. When I painted the ball into the background, I didn't go that far over the line. So you can see the line here. You don't go that far over. You only want to go over just enough so that you don't lose. Even if you went around, you just come just, whatever technique you're using, whichever technique that you use for your background. So check out the video on doing backgrounds. It doesn't matter which one of those techniques you choose. Just make sure you paint over the edge of your objects. You're going to need to do that for every single object. Paint the background into it. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because generally what will happen is your background paint will still be wet. Even though you painted into the edge of this, your background paint will still be wet. Depends on what the colors of the object that you're painting, you may have to allow the background color to completely dry before you paint the object. In that case, you still do the same thing. You just allow it to dry, and then you come back and then you paint. So this object is dry over in here. I painted the background into it. You can let that background area completely dry, then come back and paint. So this is dry, somewhat dry, where I painted the object into the background. So that's what you would do. You don't want the colors to mix and mingle. You want them to overlay each other to get rid of the halo. So now I would come back with the background right up there, kissing that edge. Kissing the edge, there's no halo there. And then I would proceed to painting my background. So if I was painting all of this background area, when I got to this object, I would treat these edges first. And now look at it. That caused it to really stand out from the background. And I let the edge dry before I applied the other paint. You don't want to create a totally different paint color by mingling the background color with the object's color. All you're trying to do with that is just treat the edges so you don't have that halo running around the object. That's all you're treating. So you don't put the paint, background paint, way into the object, and you don't put the object's paint way into the background, only there around the edges. And in doing so, really, once you get used to doing it, you'll be able to see that your object edge is still there. Then you go back and reclaim your object's edge. That's all you have to do. Okay, hope that helps. It will definitely bump up the quality of your paintings, and it will distinguish you from being a rank amateur or a beginner or someone just trying to learn, or a novice. Okay, thanks for joining me. Until next time.